Right guys, welcome back, and in today's video we're going to tackle 3 jobs. In fact, the first one's not a job at all, it is just a psychologically satisfying time lapse which I've decided to share with you. Number 2, this is probably the most valuable job in terms of the knowledge that I've acquired and I'm going to share with you and the wider world, and that is how to fit deck hardware and genuinely not expect it to leak for decades. Now, I was always under the assumption that, well, with all the deck hardware that we've taken off and then replaced, it's generally waterproof for a couple of years, if you're lucky. But it turns out that, well, maybe I was just doing it wrong, because according to the guys here, there's a few little tips and tricks which they've shared with me, which means that if that's gone down correctly, that deck hardware shouldn't leak for 20 years, apparently. But I'm going to show you what they've shown me, and then together hopefully we'll all improve. And if any of you can see anything that I'm doing that can be improved upon further still, then do jump in the comments and let us know, and collectively, like a hive mind, we can all improve. And then thirdly is the job that I'm a bit nervous about, because I'm going to attempt to fix the Selden winch that blew up under load under my operation. Totally my fault, nothing to do with Selden, just my bad. However, I have spoke to Selden, Mr. Richard Thorogood. We've put our brains together, and hopefully we think come up with a list of spares that should hopefully repair it, and I'm going to try and tackle that myself. So wish me luck there. But first things first, let's on with the time lapse. Alright, quick top change after sweating somewhat profusely tackling the deck, but now hopefully the more valuable part of the video, certainly in terms of acquiring knowledge and sharing knowledge, but that is fitting the old deck hardware, and hopefully in such a way that it never ever leaks again. Famous last words. But let me run you through all the steps that I've been given, which hopefully illustrate perhaps where I went wrong last time, and I imagine where others out there go wrong. You know, people like us that were pretty green and just saw a leak, took it off, re-sickered it, put it down, and maybe stopped it for a year or two, but then those leaks come back. Well, hopefully today, now, we're gonna solve that. All right, and here you can see a freshly sanded area where this cleat, according to my fine labeling, used to live previously, and so we're gonna put this back. Before we do that, there's some preparation work that we need to do here in order to make sure that we get a watertight finish forever. Alright, I guess forever might be a bit strong, but longer. It'll be watertight a lot longer, and that's a good thing. Alright, so after this has all been cleaned and sanded, the next phase is this little puppy here, and that is to drill a countersink hole. Now that is, by all accounts, going to help create an additional gasket there. So next thing we need to do, get a little bit of acetone and then clean up this whole surface. Alright, now I have actually cleaned up the underside of this already. I've sanded that all off to get basically rid of all the old residue and the old Sikaflex that was there before. And we've also got 4 new fixings as well. So I'm going to give this an acetone too. We're going to dry fit this, and then once it's dry fitted, we're going to mark out with some blue tape all of the perimeter, so that when we do fix this down, all the squelch that comes out isn't going to go and stain the deck. We can just clean that up, peel the tape off. Bob's your father's brother. Almost job done. I'm not the only one in this shed. Now onto the somewhat more messy part of the job. For this one I am using Sikaflex 291i. Why? Because I was told to. And I also want to put some down the threads and then a little bit under the head too. Alright, and I have just tightened those fixings just about 90%, and you can see that squelch is starting to come out. I'm going to leave that for 24 hours to set, and then we'll have a bit of a firmer gasket, and then I'll tighten them all the way up. I don't want to tighten them all the way up now and then squeeze out all of that barrier. That's the thought process. I'm also going to clean all that excess squelch off with some Gorilla wipes rather than use acetone, because if I start using acetone on this, I'll start to actually break down all that Sikaflex that I've just put in. So you can use this, or white spirit I imagine would do the same job, but yeah, nothing any stronger than that, otherwise you're going to destroy the barrier that you've just gone to all the trouble to create. Well, hopefully that's now going to be completely watertight, and any of you have any input, any thoughts, any feelings, anything to add or anything you'd have done differently, then by all means jump in the comments and let me know. The one thing I can think that a few of you might be thinking is, why didn't you drill, fill, drill? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's also a perfectly valid option. But for those of you that don't want to be drilling, filling and mixing epoxy, this, I believe, is a good way to go. Anyway, third and final task. This one's the one that I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off, but let's give it a go. We're back where our electric winch journey first started all those years ago. And the man who organised for this, well, for the repairs to happen in the first place, all the spares we needed, is the same guy that organised for us to have the winch in the first place. So he's also climbed to the dizzying heights of director of Selden now. So it's pretty humbling actually that he's personally seen to us getting this sorted. So I'm going to sheepishly go and apologise for breaking the winch and say hello, get the new bits.
How are you?
Hello mate.
Good to see you.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Back again. So this is your office now, is it?
Yeah.
Now that you are officially the big cheese.
Your bits are in the back of my car, unfortunately.
Thank you, sir.
One of them.
One of those.
One of those.
Uh-huh.
One of those.
Perfect.
And 3 of those.
Amazing, because they're meant to be straight, aren't they? I've got 3 of those.
They are meant to be straight. There you go, sir.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you, mate.
that's good to see you. No, thank you. And I hope you managed to. Alright, we're back. Let's get this tackled. All our new bits. Let's get to work. Thankfully that bit's not too hard to take off. All that. This part still looks good. Pop that over that. A little bit of banana armour going on there with the fixings. Again. The drum still looks fine, intact. And there's no apparent or obvious signs of damage in that, so it's good. These fixings still look good. And they've got little O-rings on them there, so keep those to one side. This is where these bent fixings will be in there. But these fixings, they all look good. So we've got like a little gasket here. Gasket all looks fine, perhaps just a little bit of grease on that. And then we can pop that into its new housing. They look the same. And we want to align this little groove up here with these terminals here. So I'm just going to pinch that in place. Okay. Next up we put these two little fixings. I'm not 100% sure what these are actually doing, truth be told, but Alright, next up, the parts that were broken in here. If you can see, these little spines here are snapped off on this, and here you've got a little recess which holds the bolts in place, and again they were all snapped off on that one, so you see a little side by side, but that one's no good. And now after that goes on, that little lift. Alright, there we go. And next, hopefully all we should need is a new shiny Selden E40i lid. That should fit in there like so. And then some straight fixings. And of course, let's not forget, ludicrous mode. Ah, ludicrous mode. Turns out that once you've got yourself into a bit of a precarious situation, and let's just imagine that you, I don't know, have crash jibed and you're in a spot that you've, well, misjudged, just hypothetically of course, it turns out that trying to get that boom back under control using an electric winch on ludicrous mode, yeah, if you've got a riding turn on the winch that you perhaps haven't noticed, could be a surefire way to destroy the winch. And anyway, I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there really, but thankfully it looks like the winch has gone back together. We're not going to know really until we put it under some load, but from my visual inspection everything looks good, everything's gone back together, it feels nice, all the gears are working, so that's a result. Anyway, we had 3 missions in this video, we've achieved all 3 of them. I'm feeling very happy with that. I hope you guys are all doing well. Carly and Hudson are doing mum and baby bit, they're growing stronger every day, so life is good for them, and hopefully we'll be back out on an adventure somewhat shortly. I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel now, which is good. Don't want to jinx myself. Right, I'll see you guys next time.